What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Punch It Podcast, coming at you live from Austin, Texas at Punch It Studios. Today, I'm joined again, as always, by my beautiful co-host, Sydney. My name is Jamil. We got producer Tej behind the camera, and we're going to be talking about a really exciting event coming up in wrestling and giving a little bit of a preview for Night of Champions from Saudi Arabia, headlined by the Dream Match, John Cena versus CM Punk for the last time. And we got the conclusion of the King of the Ring tournament, which is going to determine why are you laughing at me? Which
You're
is
talking for so long.
no, I haven't.
I'm sorry.
It's an intro. You know how podcasts work, okay?
Right.
Anywho, it's gonna. We're also gonna be seeing the end of the King of the Ring tournament, which is gonna determine the main event of SummerSlam this year, and to see who is the number one contender between Randy Orton and Cody, the American Nightmare, Rhodes.
I didn't know that part, actually.
You didn't know that? We talked about that for a long time.
So, we are in a tournament right now to see who is going to headline SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wins is gonna get a championship match at SummerSlam. That's how it works.
Versus Randy Orton or Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm. That's the finals.
So Randy and Cody Rhodes are going to fight when?
At Night of Champions
this week.
Yeah, the conclusion. that's going to be the conclusion of the King of the Ring tournament. So whoever wins will be King of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and maybe I'm a little confused about what King of the Ring is, because there seems to be a couple of other matches that are not for the King of the Ring.
So the only match for the King of the Ring tournament at Night of Champions is that match and the women's finals, which is going to be Jade Cargill versus our producer's alerting us of something on the ceiling. It's going to be Jade Cargill versus your girl. What's her name?
Tiffy?
No, Tiffy's the champion.
Hmm.
Jade Cargill versus
Becky?
Asuka. You should have it. You have it right there, I think.
I have it from my other notes.
She has notes now, guys. She doesn't want to forget people's names. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She wants to stay on top of things.
Yeah, I'm doing my homework.
Okay.
So Jade versus Asuka are going to be in the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring.
Yeah,
match.
Queen of the Ring.
That is at the PLE Night of Champions.
Yes, ma'am.
Night of Champions is the name of the premium live event.
Mm-hmm.
The title, the main event match at Night of Champions is the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
The others are what?
What
are the other matches? Like, they're just regular, just for fun? For titles?
Yeah, so a quick background of the history of both these things. Night of Champions was originally a PLE where every single championship was on the line. That's why it's called Night of Champions. And they used to have like champion versus champion matches too sometimes. So it was like you're going to see every champion in Night of Champions. This year, it's not the case. They combine King of the Ring into it. Background of King of the Ring is it's always been a pretty big deal, especially dating back to the Attitude Era. It's where, they would kind of break stars. Like Stone Cold became a huge star when he won the King of the Ring tournament, like in the early to mid 90s. And that's what kind of catapulted him to being a main event kind of player. Now they use King of the Ring to determine the number one contender for SummerSlam.
Okay, I didn't know that background. So who is fighting so that was the Queen of the Ring, Jade versus Asuka. King of the Ring is, please enlighten me so I don't have to go through my notes.
Cody versus Randy Orton.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's in the notes now to be reflected on later.
You'll never forget it again.
All right, so are we going to recap what happened this last week's SmackDown and Raw?
Yeah,
before we get to Night of Champions, maybe we should mention that we have tried to record other things this week, and the sound quality did not work out. So there is not an episode for maybe a couple of weeks since today.
Yeah, but this is a good time to kind of catch up right
Yeah.
before the PLE.
Yeah, just acknowledging, sorry guys, we did try to catch up and the sound quality was not very good, but we're learning here, right?
Yeah, this is a journey that we're all on together.
Yeah.
Us, the hosts, our
Yeah.
producers, learning a lot too,
Exactly.
in creating segments and staying on top of the recording qualities. And then you, our audience, are also learning.
Yes.
Hopefully, a little bit about wrestling, and hopefully a little bit about us as well, and also how to be a hardcore fan of a wrestling podcast.
Yeah,
Just like we're hardcore fans of wrestling.
exactly. That's all you need.
Okay, so to get to where we are
Mhm.
going into Night of Champions and to talk about those matches, let us talk a little bit about what has happened in the last week in SmackDown and Raw.
Mhm.
So we're going to be talking about the June 23rd episode of Raw, and then what would that be and then the June 20th episode of SmackDown.
Right.
Okay.
So theoretically, let's talk about SmackDown first because that happened first.
It happened first. Okay.
Chronologically.
Pull up your notes. You should have notes about all of this stuff.
Here they are. All right. So the first match at SmackDown this last Friday was ladies, Asuka versus Alexa.
That was the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring tournament to determine who would go to the finals between them.
Okay.
They both won their Fatal 4-Way qualifiers, and in this match we would be seeing who would make the finals.
So let's catch the viewers up on who is Asuka, because this was the first time I had ever seen her.
Asuka is a multi-time women's world champion. She is Japanese. She made a career, I'm guessing, in Japan before this. Very decorated wrestler in Japan. Came over to WWE. She's been there for a while. I pretty much missed everything she did in WWE before this. This is also kind of my first time seeing her, although I was aware of her as, she's considered, one of the best performers on like the women's roster for the last several years.
Okay. Cool.
She's a little bit more senior. I believe she's in her 40s.
Good for her.
At this point, but she's been wrestling for a long time, and then you can see like her experience in the ring shows. But from what we've seen from her in these first two matches she's had, which were, her Fatal 4-Way qualifier, and then this match against Alexa, she looks quick. She looks healthy. She's really, she's jumping around. She's hitting some strong style moves, and she looks good. So I'm excited that she's in this final, so we can get to see more of her.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her too. I really like her personality. I like her little like dark energy, the masks and the makeup she wears. She's got a good attitude, and I'm rooting for her. And does she know Jade? Do her and Jade have a history?
I don't think so. I would be surprised if her and Jade had ever gone one-on-one, considering she's been out for over a year, Asuka, and then Jade has only been with WWE for, I think, a couple of years now.
Oh, okay.
So I remember they said this is Jade's second Queen of the Ring. Oh. And I know that she's more new to WWE. So I would doubt if they ever fought before.
Okay. Well, sorry to Alexa. See you next time.
Yeah, Asuka went over clean. So she will be advancing to the finals. We'll talk about how Jade got there in this when we get to Raw.
Yeah. All right, next I have written down Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. Yes. I bet that was quite the match to see.
You watched some of it. You watched most of it.
Okay.
I don't need to remember. Okay. We did watch this match. So this was a semifinals for the King of the Ring on the men's side.
Right. I remember seeing it. We've pieced together a lot of these matches because we did not watch them from start to finish. I remember I saw, or I heard and I saw what Randy was saying at the beginning of the match, that Sami will be champion one day, but that day is not today or anytime
Yeah.
relatively soon.
Sometimes when you hear things like that, it's like, oh, it's part of the story. The wrestlers are talking to each other, talking shit. But sometimes they're actually just telling you what's gonna happen.
Oh shoot!
So that's basically they're saying what's gonna happen. I was rooting for Sammy.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorite wrestlers.
So spoiler: Sammy loses, and Randy wins.
Yeah. So it became kind of apparent to me that Sammy was not going to win this match because they were teasing that he's getting caught up in a feud with Karrion Kross. Like Karrion Kross has
That's
been
the
like
guy that shows up with his wife.
yeah, he always has his wife on his shirt. This is not my wife. He has this is a country singer. He has his wife on his shirt. He has his wife over his shoulder. He does not go anywhere. His wife is in his like graphic picture.
Yeah.
She's there too.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean they're a package deal.
Yeah.
When Karrion Kross was on Sheamus's workout channel, she was there with him too.
Love that.
So he never goes anywhere without her, which I like. It's kind of what our dynamic is like. I never go anywhere without her either.
That's true. All right. So what about that with Sammy?
So he's just been like taunting and telling Sammy like, you're not going to win. You're not good enough. So now that Sammy has lost, he's going to be fighting Karrion Kross at Night of Champions.
Okay.
So that's how we got there.
And that's just like a match.
A singles match, a regular singles match.
Okay. So we'll add that to the list of Night of Champions singles matches.
Mm-hmm.
What's that guy's name with his wife?
Karrion Kross with a K on both.
Karrion Kross versus Sammy. All right. It's locked in. Happening at Night of Champions. It's locked in because now it's in my Golden Girls notebook.
Stay golden, folks.
Stay golden. All right. Next, what happened was that a fight between Nia and Tiffany I saw?
I think they were just talking
to
each other. They were talking and they started, scrapping with each other. So they're going to be fighting in a last woman standing match, which is the name of the match. The name of the match stipulation is called a last man standing match. You have never seen one of these.
No, I have
not.
You've
seen. Oh, you were watching one, but you fell asleep during it. This is, I think, the second one that they.
You don't have to bring that up today here.
So a last man standing match is a no qualifications match where the object of the match is to incapacitate your opponent so badly that they cannot get up before the ref counts to 10. So you knock out your opponent once he's laying on the ground. This is one's match. Once she is laying on the ground, the ref starts to count to 10. And she has to get on both feet before the count of 10 in order to keep the match going.
In the ring? Wow.
No, they could be outside of the ring too.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So that is happening where?
This is what I was about to look up.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is on SmackDown.
Maybe we should record the live Googling of things.
This is going to be on SmackDown. This is...
Oh, okay.
This is not Night of Champions. Friday. Yeah.
Well, after Night of Champions, we'll let you know what happens. After Night of Champions, and then after Raw, and then after next SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, and worth mentioning as well, Naomi has been teasing her cash-in.
Yes.
But
worth mentioning.
But Nia keeps stopping her. She's stopped her 2 weeks in a row before Naomi has tried to cash in. So I don't know what that's about. But I think Naomi's cash in is going to come sooner rather than later.
Okay.
She can't keep teasing like this for months and months on end. She's going to do it
the way that Tiffany did. Tiffany teased for months.
Yeah, she did. She teased for a couple of months, but then once she started teasing, she cashed in. Like Seth has not teased at all, so that's why I'm expecting that to go on for much longer.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we'll see what happens this Friday. Nia versus Tiffy, last woman standing match. Oh, I have written down 5 head is crazy. Tiffy told Naya that she had a 5 head.
Tiffy's mean tonight, but I think they're like really good friends outside of
Oh,
everything. You know,
breaking the third wall. Third wall? Fourth wall.
fourth wall. We'll get to the
Speaking
fourth
of,
wall.
it's time. No, wait, actually,
We
not
have
yet.
one more.
Now we're going to talk
thing.
about Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sequoia.
Should I put up the picture of the tree again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No, Solo Sequoia.
Mm-hmm. So this has kind of turned into... So the feud is Jacob and Solo are officially like separated, right?
Yeah.
Jacob is out
Jacob
of...
Fatu and Solo, yeah.
Yeah, so Jacob is in the middle of, I guess it's a face turn. So Jacob is done being Solo's, muscle. He doesn't want anything to do with Solo anymore. So right now it's just Solo, and he has, what do they call him? They call him JC Mateo. So he has JC Mateo with him, and because Jacob is by himself, this has caused his cousin Jimmy Uso to get involved and team up with Jacob.
What? So Jimmy Uso plus cousin Jacob Fatu versus Jimmy's brother
versus
Solo Sikoa, and then Mateo. Whatever.
Yeah, JC Mateo, who's not related to any of them.
So it's a brother cousin side versus a brother rando side.
Yeah, they've done so many different versions of this, bloodline.
They're doing good work with it, though. I think that's an interesting plot line that, you can't get tired of.
Yeah.
Brothers fighting. Wait, so did anybody win that match? Or was that just setting that up?
They were just talking. There was no match. They just attacked each other, just like I feel like there's almost no difference between like them attacking each other and having a match. Like,
I know. That's why it's been crazy watching the recaps of these, because usually we're watching them live.
Yeah.
And just watching the recaps, they're showing you stuff, and I'm like, is this a match? Is this for a belt?
Yeah.
Is this just taunting? And you gotta be paying attention the whole time, because they're really quickly throwing out all the facts for you.
Yeah.
What are you looking up now?
I'm looking up just to make sure that we see like what's going to happen on SmackDown versus what's going to happen at Night of Champions.
Oh, I see.
Because I don't want to get confused between the two. Because I know they have another championship match for SmackDown.
Okay.
Because they're both going to be in Saudi Arabia. But I don't know if they're going to tell me on here.
Well, that's what you missed on Glee, maybe. And we'll recap what happens after this Friday's SmackDown, Saturday's Night of Champions, and Monday's Raw.
Yeah.
We'll tie it all together for the next ep.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Night of Champions separately, though. So we'll wait to say these other matches until we talk about Night of Champion. Okay. So what's the last thing that happens? There's two more things.
There's two more things. Just really quickly, Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. Boring.
Well, so that is part of a feud that LA Knight is having with the whole Rollins group.
Oh.
So they've been interfering in each other's matches nonstop.
Because Bronson Reed is a part of the Secret Service of Seth Rollins.
Yeah. They don't have a name for it, so we're just going to call it the Secret Service.
The Secret Service, like Ashley Green used to have.
Yeah.
Ashley?
Chelsea
Green used to have.
So we did see this. So this was like the first thing that happened on SmackDown, actually, before we figured out that we weren't going to be able to watch it. Okay. So LA Knight came out and he called out Rollins, but he was instead ambushed by Braun and Bronson. And
yes, I remember that.
They just beat him up. So
damn. Too pretty for him.
Yeah, and I think LA Knight, he's really going on a 3v1 here. So either somebody's going to help him or he just has to move on because he's not going to be able to win this 3v1 battle.
Shoot. Okay, well, let's get on to the next match of John Cena versus CM Punk.
Yeah, that wasn't what the match was. But one more quick thing we are forgetting. This is not that important, but Chelsea did have a singles match
She did.
against Charlotte.
Did that happen on SmackDown?
Yeah, we just saw it in the recap, remember? And then Alexa came out and helped Charlotte when she was getting ambushed.
Mm,
So I don't know if that's something that's going to happen on SmackDown or, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, that happened.
okay, just a warning. Sorry, that was not in my notes. I did not catch that in our recap. Okay.
Okay, and the main event of the night was John Cena versus R-Truth, yet again.
Oh.
So this match was pretty quick. CM Punk came out and interfered almost right away. And John Cena and CM Punk went out a little bit. And then John Cena puts CM Punk through the Slim Jim table.
Sponsored
by Slim Jim. They will not let you forget it. After he puts R-Truth through the table, he leaves the ring, grabs a mic, and goes and sits down on the turnbuckle on the top rope with CM Punk laying through the table right in frame, in the same frame, talking over him.
Uh-huh.
And this is a callback to one of the most iconic wrestling promos of all time, CM Punk's Pipe Bomb from 2011. John Cena goes almost verbatim saying some of the same iconic lines CM Punk said in this 7-minute promo back in 2011, which is what launched CM Punk into kind of the wrestling stratosphere. The quick history of this pipe bomb is that CM Punk was in a feud with John Cena for the WWE Championship. CM Punk's contract was expiring in real life. CM Punk's contract was expiring in 3 weeks. And his story behind this was that he was going to beat John Cena for the championship at Money in the Bank, and then he was going to leave the company with the championship and never come back, which is basically almost a direct kind of call out to what John Cena is doing now.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena has 6 months left, but it's still kind of the same thing, except the roles are reversed. CM Punk was the bad guy saying, I have such a problem with this industry. I hate WWE. I hate the fans. I'm going to win the championship and leave. And then John Cena was like the company guy for the fans saying, I'm going to keep this championship here. And now their roles are reversed. And they've been going at each other about this in the promos.
Yeah.
John Cena and CM Punk are calling each other hypocrites, saying, look at us now. Who would have thought that I would be the guy defending, these people, defending trying to defend the championship, and you're the one that's turning your back on the people. So, yeah, it was just pretty incredible to see. Kind of like, it's just probably my favorite part so far of this John Cena heel run.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what we wanted, right? Like we wanted to see John Cena's greatest hits. We wanted to see him fight all the old, unresolved, or I guess maybe they were resolved, but they're reopened kind of rivalries, and see him go at some of these people that he had the most iconic feuds with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that I was waiting for personally. This is the one that I didn't think it was going to happen at like a B.
Yeah.
PLE. I thought it would be like SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But I think I know what's going to happen at SummerSlam now, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I'm still glad to see that they're putting basically as much care and promotion and work into this as they would like an A PLE.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to be a throwaway, kind of like how it was with Randy Orton.
Right.
That one, like the build up was disappointing.
Yeah.
But this one, they're really like John Cena has been on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like every week, trying to put this together. CM Punk too.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds exciting. I think we should do, like, as you're speaking, I was like, maybe we should do like an episode of itself of like the history of CM Punk, because there's a lot about CM Punk that you wouldn't know just from starting watching at this level right now, or at this time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of history there that is behind the scenes that has played out into the storyline
Mm-hmm.
of the regular show, and yeah, I think we should talk about that another time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I just showed her the original Pipe Bomb from 2011,
mm-hmm.
and then we just watched John Cena's Pipe Bomb from
Right.
this last Friday, back to back. What did you notice between these two? What were the similarities that you kind of saw? What were the most interesting points of them?
Yes. Well, I think the thing that made me realize that they were both saying, I mean, I obviously watched the John Cena pipe bomb first before we
Mm-hmm.
went to the CM Punk pipe bomb. But I really like how they both wave at the camera and say, like, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's the indicator. That was the indicator for me. What was the indicator for you that they were saying the same thing? Just like I'm the go. Oh, and you said like setting the stage with like being through a table.
Yeah, so it was the same like setup. It was John Cena versus R-Truth
Yeah.
with CM Punk interfering
Yeah.
both times. So it was set up the same way. I realized that the same thing that John Cena was doing a pipe bomb when he sat down, and then he said the line, "I don't hate you. I like you a lot more than the guys in the back." He was getting cheered a lot. He was getting cheered during this promo, so he had to rein it back in and blame the fan because he's supposed to be the bad guy.
I see.
So I mean, he's a real pro there doing that.
Yeah.
We've seen Seth Rollins do that a lot recently. We've seen John Cena do that every time he gets cheered. He immediately tries to attack so he can get booed.
Yeah. 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 He's like, y'all are all asking for my autograph, and then you go home, and then you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut off his mic, which I thought was funny.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena, I'm the GOAT. He calls CM Punk the best bullshitter. And then he's like, oops, I cussed on live TV. Sorry, USA. And he also mentions breaking the fourth wall. He says he's jealous of CM Punk. I don't remember why.
He was like sarcastic. He said, "I'm
Obviously,
jealous
yeah.
of you because of you're an asshole" or something. I forget what he said, but
yeah. He said, "You change your values the way you change your t-shirts."
Mm-hmm.
Or I think John Cena said the way I change my t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says hello to all these wrestlers that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, just former wrestlers that were like CM Punk's friends.
Okay.
I think his friends too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think my biggest takeaway was it was funny. He was making fun of CM Punk basically by doing the whole thing, and then he was also and CM Punk was talking about himself in his promo, and John Cena was talking about CM Punk.
Yeah.
So it was like a tear down of his character, and John Cena got the biggest cheers that he's gotten since he came back. People were eating it up. People love this promo, and it's got me intrigued. Before this promo, I was 100% sure that John Cena was going to win this match. And now they're putting more into this than I thought they would. So now I feel like there's still a chance CM Punk could come out of this. I just don't truly believe that John Cena's feud will end in a B pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. That was why I didn't think it was going to happen. But I don't know. This is becoming a better feud. This is, it's living up to what I wanted from this feud.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Let's talk about Raw.
Okay. From Raw, first match I saw was Braun Breaker versus Penta. Braun Breaker, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's so many Brauns. Bronson, Braun Breaker.
Yeah. This, like, Penta is another part of this equation that, Seth Rollins, lackeys are getting into, fights with weekly. They're fighting LA Knight when they're on SmackDown, then they'll fight Penta when they're on Raw.
Yeah.
Braun goes over clean, which, sure. I really don't think this match means anything.
Okay. Your commentary while we were watching was slow and clunky. It was a very long match for what?
Yeah, well, I think it felt longer just because Seth Rollins was talking for so long
That's true.
right before this, and he was saying the same thing he said for like 2 months.
Yeah.
He just comes
Kind of
out.
bored.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't just keep saying the same thing every week and be like, "We're taking over." Okay, take over. None of you have championships. You haven't used your money in the bank. So what are you talking about?
Right.
It's
Well,
so like that segment in this match took up the first like half hour for Raw.
yeah. Okay. Next was Jade versus Roxanne.
So this was another semifinals to determine who would be facing Asuka, who qualified a few days earlier on SmackDown.
And so Jade won that.
Yeah, Jade won that match like we were alluding to earlier.
Mm-hmm. It was a very strange match, though. It seemed like their moves were like not hitting the way they should have been, and so I don't. Sometimes now I'm thinking like if any of that stuff is like to make us question or like think differently about like did that person was that person supposed to win, or like does it even out the match a little bit more, like
Mm-hmm.
did all of this like I don't know, kind of like again like kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit to help you see like Roxanne still is actually a very good and very like could have won,
Mm-hmm.
but we played you into thinking, well, we played the system to make Jade win because to follow the storyline or whatever.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if that made sense. But...
no, it does. That makes sense. I see what you're saying. I think that yeah, they just kind of like botched a
Yeah.
few of the moves there in the end, especially the ending. I thought it was a good match still, though. Roxanne still looked strong losing, which is what you want.
Right.
But
That's yeah.
I think that like Roxanne, I didn't truly believe she had any chance to win in this match.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see Jade at Night of Champions for her Queen of the Ring. Next was Bayley versus Becky.
Yeah, this was good. I wanna give you some props
Why?
while we talk about this match, because during the match, basically a couple minutes into the match, I figured out what was gonna happen, and then I asked you
Uh-huh.
what do you think is gonna happen, and then you're like, I guess Becky's gonna win, and then I said how, and then you were like, well, like Lyra is gonna like interfere, right? And I was like, yeah. And then what's gonna happen? And then you're like, I guess it's gonna backfire. And I was like, yes, that is exactly what's gonna happen. And then it happened.
So true. Yeah, this time it also felt like a longer match. And because they set us up too, because we see Bayley and Lyra talking.
They were arguing before.
Yeah, they were arguing before behind the scenes. And is that what it's called? Like when it's like not in the ring? Backstage. And you see Lyra getting on Bayley's nerves.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, is Bayley just being mean or is Lyra annoying? And so then you go into this match with Bayley versus Becky, and Bayley is doing a good job for a lot of it. And then Lyra comes in and like they threaten where they're like, you will get disqualified, or you will disqualify Bayley if Lyra hits Becky in a match that is not hers, which is a fact. Like we should acknowledge too that I didn't really know is like if someone else comes in, but they don't do that in other matches because what's her name? Raquel is always interfering in matches.
Well, you can't be seen by the ref. If the ref sees you hit, which is why they always try to like distract the ref, or they as long as the ref doesn't see. I mean, there's a big TV showing what happens. I don't know why the ref can't look at that, or like they can't change the results retroactively. I don't know why that's not a thing.
Interesting.
If somebody cheats, but yeah. So
yeah,
Becky basically Becky baits Lyra into attacking her so that she will, because you can't win the title unless it's by pinfall or submission. So Bayley wins the match. No, actually Becky wins the match because she was attacked anyways. Yeah.
Becky wins the match. Becky gets knocked out by Lyra. So Becky is crawling with her belt back to the locker room because she got beat up by Lyra. And Lyra and Bailey are fighting not really fighting, but just like verbally fighting in the ring. Because Bailey's like, what the heck? This wasn't about you. And she's right. Lyra, I don't know what she's thinking.
Yeah.
But, so Becky holds on to her title for now. Ready for the next one?
Before we get to this, let's just reference a couple of backstage segments that you didn't jot down.
Okay.
So 2 things happened. They announced that Dom versus AJ for the Intercontinental Championship is off Night of Champions. Night of Champions.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Adam Pearce says that Dom is injured. People are speculating why they removed this match. I don't know what it is. They announced it was on the card last week, and then now all of a sudden it's not gonna happen anymore. Oh, they added this match, which we didn't. So the next backstage or the next other segment was not an official match that happened was that Raquel came out to the ring and she was like, Rhea, she's like, Rhea, get out here, pendeja. And then so Rhea comes out and they start fighting like they always do. And then what's her name? Tiny girl. Roxanne, second appearance of the night, or third appearance of the night for Roxanne. Roxanne comes out and helps Raquel. So Raquel and Roxanne have been at odds because Roxanne, she like Liv is afraid she's trying to take her spot.
She sees the threat. Yeah.
She sees her as a threat because Finn brought her into the locker room, brought her into Judgment Day's locker room.
Yeah.
But now I guess they're changing the plan of that storyline. And now Roxanne maybe is going to team up with Raquel because Raquel and Liv are still the champions.
Okay. Yeah. So we hadn't addressed really that because that was in another episode that we recorded that
Liv is
hurt. And is she really hurt? Or is this set up to bring, like, Liv is out, Liv is away, and we're bringing Roxanne in to replace her. Liv is going to come back, and things are going to get really messy.
So the way that they usually do this is that when they like show a particular injury and say what the injury is, that means it's a real injury. Like Kevin Owens' neck injury is not a work. That's real, and this Liv injury has to be real.
Dang.
If something happens,
it really lines up, I guess.
Yeah, if something happens like with McIntyre, like they're saying McIntyre is injured because when Damian Priest hit him with a chair, that's not a real injury. Because they didn't talk about what it is. Yeah. Yeah, but if they say, she has a separated shoulder or whatever it was, that means it really happened. But dislocated shoulder, I mean, in Karate Kid, he just pops his shoulder back in and then he keeps fighting.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's the big deal about this dislocated shoulder. Maybe it's like a worse injury than I thought because of Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But in 30 years, I've never heard of this injury keeping you out for 6 months or whatever they said.
Maybe you should be grateful for that. Having your limbs in location.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Is it time for the final match?
Yeah, I think they said one more thing. They said that New Day has to fight Judgment Day next week for the championship. I don't know. Who cares? Okay.
Love main the days. Event. Love the day groups. Okay. Main event was Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare.
Okay, you talk about this match. What did you think before the match? What did you think during it? And what do you think after?
Before...
What is the stipulation for this match?
The stipulation? Well, I hate to see besties fighting. 2 good guys what's the term for good guys?
Faces.
Two faces facing off, right? And
Face off.
face off. And I think it went well, I don't know. I looked away a couple of times. I was afraid that somebody was going to turn and somebody was going to go bad. And I didn't want to see that. But I think they both stayed. So Cody Rhodes wins. And they both stayed good guys the whole time. And then they shook hands before, right? And then after they fought and it was close, Cody Rhodes won.
What was this match for, though? Like, when I say, like, what is the stipulation? Like, what were they fighting for?
Oh, to be in the King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good job.
So this was part of the tournament. That's why they made two besties fight each other in the tournament. This was not. Yeah. So Cody wins. He beats his friend Jey Uso, not too badly.
Not too badly.
Everybody's healthy, I think. And what are we supposed to do?
What do we do now?
What do we do now? Yeah. That was the end of the match, and that was the end of what I've seen.
So that sets up,
or end of the episode, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can go right into Night of Champions now, and let's talk about that first. So that sets up Randy versus Cody Rhodes in the King of the Ring finals. So a little quick history is that Cody came up in a group called Legacy, which Randy Orton was the leader of. It was a group of, multi-generation superstars. Randy being second generation, I think, or maybe even third, but second from his dad, Cowboy Bob Orton, and he was the established veteran, even though he was still in his 20s at the time, with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase as his, lackeys in the group. So Cody considers Randy one of his mentors. Taught him about the business, came up with him and everything under his tutelage. So this is the first time of them fighting, I think, since Cody came back. Maybe they've had a match before, but this is like their biggest match that they've had together.
Okay.
So that'll be good, and the winner will get a championship shot. This is what, for PLEs, we do predictions. So what is your prediction for this?
Yeah, I'm going to say Cody Rhodes, because I think there will be another matchup between. Is this what you're talking about? What you think is going to happen at SummerSlam? But maybe I'm not saying what you're thinking so far. I'm thinking if Cody Rhodes wins at Night of Champions, King of the Ring, and then CM Punk loses at Night of Champions, then it will be Cody Rhodes and John Cena again at SummerSlam. Does that sound crazy? Is that not what you're thinking?
That's what I was thinking.
It is?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Cody never got his rematch against John.
Yeah.
The interesting ripple is that they've also been teasing Cody versus CM Punk ever since the lead up to Royal Rumble. Remember when they had that promo on SmackDown when CM Punk was like, "I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble, then I'm coming after you."
Yeah.
And it was like, "Oh shit, CM Punk's gonna win the Royal Rumble because they have to do this match now."
Yeah.
And they did it. And then they had another thing backstage on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. It was really quick, but Cody walked by CM Punk, or maybe it was vice versa, and then I think Cody said we're gonna do this eventually. It hasn't happened yet, but we're gonna have this match. And then CM Punk was like, I know. So they could also do CM Punk could win, and they could still have that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Cody Rhodes is gonna win. There's no way that Randy is gonna beat Cody Rhodes. This is an easy, obvious win for Cody.
Okay. So do you want to look at who's gonna win Queen of the Ring?
Let's talk about Queen now.
I think Jade is going to win for Jade versus Asuka. I think Jade is going to win, and that is when. Oh, wait. Can Naomi cash in at Queen of the Ring?
Yeah, Seth could also cash in.
Yeah, I forgot about Seth, but because I know Naomi has beef with Jade, or really, Jade should have beef with Naomi, but Naomi's on one and is coming after Jade more than she would be coming after Asuka. So I wonder. I think if Asuka is winning, she will take it from. No, sorry. If Jade is losing, she will cash in to take whatever from Jade. Naomi will.
Yeah, that's where I think this is going to.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jade will win the Queen of the Ring,
Mm-hmm.
and then she will win she'll win the championship from Tiffy Time.
Wait, how does she get the championship from Tiffany?
Because remember, the Queen of the Ring, it gets you a championship match at SummerSlam. That's the whole point.
Oh, I see. Yes. Sorry, I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
So Naomi can't cash in on Jade because Jade doesn't have anything.
I see.
So, but once Jade has it, then Naomi can cash in.
Got it.
Which is where I think it's leading.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What are the other matches?
So our other matches that we got booked are Fatu versus Solo for the United States Championship.
I don't know. I guess Fatu, I hope.
Yeah, I think Fatu will win unless Solo has another trick up his sleeve.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, I don't know how many people in their family are left, but
yeah,
they could add somebody else.
Yeah.
I kind of just don't really care too much about that.
Same. Okay.
Okay, Rhea and Raquel in a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea is, I would think, would win that. I mean, Rhea is basically like the only clean loss I've ever seen her take was against Io.
Right. That's true.
So I don't think she'd lose to Raquel. I think Roxanne will obviously interfere in this.
Yeah.
And that could get Raquel the upper hand, but either way, I don't think this match really means anything.
Yeah. Which may set that up for Raquel to win.
I think it could be good though, because Raquel has been booked the last couple of weeks to look a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Like instead of just being like a lackey that just gets beat up or whatever, she's been she put Rhea through a table.
Yeah.
So this could be a good match. It might be the most violent match of the night, street fight.
True.
Okay, and then Sammy versus Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross. I guess Karrion Kross. Just because Sammy. What would Sammy get out of winning against Karrion Kross? Because Karrion Kross isn't fighting anybody else. There's no connection or he's just directly picking on Sammy and Sammy only. He's like a ghost. It's can only Sammy see him?
Yeah, that's what it feels like almost. He's just haunting Sammy for some reason. So there's something that I usually don't like to talk about the IWC. I just like to talk about us, internet wrestling community, and what they think. But I think this Karrion Kross match is a direct result of there's this really weird, almost cult-like movement in the internet wrestling community, which is leaking into the live crowds too, where everybody's obsessed with Karrion Kross and they want him in matches. They want him to get a push.
Really? Why?
I was seeing people saying that they wanted Karrion Kross to win Money in the Bank. I was like, he's not even on TV. Yeah. He doesn't even have matches.
What do they like about him? Or what did he do when he was back on all the time?
Well, I think so. We missed his NXT run.
Uh-huh.
And then we also missed his group. Right when we started watching, his group had that fight with the Wyatt Six. And then they all got fired except for Karrion and Scarlett. So we basically we've seen him fight one match, I think, or two matches this entire time that we've been watching wrestling. And it's been over a year now.
Yeah.
He's had two matches in a year.
Yeah.
But anyways, people are obsessed with this guy.
Really?
Partly because of his like WrestleMania promo. So after WrestleMania, he had this promo like where he was pissed off at AJ for losing to Logan Paul. I was like, I don't want like the gist of it was like I don't want outsiders in wrestling. AJ let us down. I'm pissed off that Logan Paul has a match and I don't.
Yeah, I remember that.
And people felt like it was sort of pipe bomby, you know.
Mm.
So people love that, and they've been clamoring for him.
Okay.
And then he's also been getting pops every time they show him in these backstage segments. People go woo. So I think this is them going like, "This is the guy you want. We don't have him in matches for a reason, but okay, you want him so bad. Here he is.
Yeah.
He's gonna fight Sammy."
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is. I mean, Sammy, like the Saudi crowd loved Sammy last time
Really?
they saw him.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he had that promo. He was speaking in Arabic,
Yeah.
and they were really hot to see him.
Yeah.
So Sammy having a match is a no-brainer in Saudi. Doesn't matter if he wins. If he loses, then obviously the feud will continue. But if he beats Karrion Kross, it's kind of like that's over.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Sammy never wins.
Yeah.
He only ever loses.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But one day he will be champion, they say.
Yeah, I think he'll be champion maybe sometime next year.
Oh. You heard it here first.
Royal Rumble is going to be in Saudi next year. So that could be Sammy's Rumble.
Cool. Okay.
And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's any other matches. I don't think. Oh, wait.
The big one. Well.
Oh, yeah.
John Cena.
Yeah,
versus
John
CM
Cena.
Punk.
Yeah, John Cena versus CM Punk. Sorry, I don't know how
Were
I
you
forgot
thinking
the
of
big
another one
match.
too?
I was thinking about something else. That's
Okay.
not a Night of Champions.
Well, I think. Well, like I said earlier, I think CM Punk will win. I mean, I'm sorry, John Cena will win
Mm-hmm.
this Night of Champions.
Yeah, I don't think this is the end for Cena.
Yeah, which is too bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, you already said it.
I'm hoping it's a good match.
Yeah,
I wanted CM Punk to beat John Cena for the championship,
right.
but
He might come back, later.
Yeah, they might fight again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we
Okay.
don't know if it's really gonna happen.
Yeah, we don't
yet.
know.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's the end of that show. We talked about like 3 things. So this was a PLE preview. This was a Raw and SmackDown recap talking about how we got to this PLE.
Yeah.
So this was a big episode.
Yeah. The sun has come and went.
Yeah,
We've been here.
Is
all
it
day.
morning now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the sun's going down actually. Yeah, well, okay, we're gonna try next week. We'll have another episode out with what happens on this upcoming Friday's SmackDown, what happens at Night of Champions, and what happens on the Monday Night Raw. And we'll kind of combine all that together for an episode for next week. But yeah.
Yeah, and then we, again, sorry for the lack of TikTok content. We are going to be getting better at that.
This is the promises we make to each other
Yes,
right here.
we're talking
on
to
camera.
each other right now, but we're recording it for the world to see so that we're holding ourselves accountable.
Yes. Because we say that every episode.
Yeah, but this time it's going to be different, girl.
That's true. All right.
Okay.
See y'all next week.
See ya. Punch it.